Hi, folks. I hope that I can stay on Facebook Live for longer than 2 seconds, which is what happened before. But I'm here to talk to you a little bit about copaiba oil. It's a very exciting time in the essential oil industry, especially in doterra land, because doterra has released copaiba oil. And, now we have that stamp of quality and potency and testing and consistency that doterra has been known for in raising the industry standards for every single product in essential oils that they release. Now, I've been watching a lot of my doTERRA friends talk about copaiba oil and compare it to cannabis oil or some cases marijuana oil. And, I feel that, we're stronger together. And I want to share a little bit of what I know with you. And I actually have done extensive research on copaiba oil and have used it from a different source. And I'm so glad that doTERRA has it now. I'll be switching over. And so I've done extensive research in the last 4 years. And I did that because I suffer from severe autoimmune issues and depression. And I also work very, very closely with many people who suffer from PTSD, and I have become very involved with the recovery, community for all kinds of substance abuse. And so, how the brain works is very, very important to me, and it's a great passion of mine. Now, in addition to doing my own research, I have also read a lot of clinical research on cannabis oil versus copaiba oil, and I decided like 3 years ago that I was going to start using copaiba oil as opposed to CBD oil. Now, it was never a comparison for me. I never looked at the two as this or that, and it concerns me that so many people are doing that. And I just want to talk to you a little bit, and I'm going to do it in 10 minutes or less, hopefully. But what I know can span, a few hours worth of in-depth information, but we can talk about that some other time, and I'll give you some information on how you can tap into a more detailed training if you want to understand what I'm just going to kind of gloss over. Now, I think that the story needs to begin at the very beginning, and what we want to talk about is cannabanoids and this thing in our body that scientists and researchers have discovered, and they've called it the endocannabanoid system. Now, they've called it the endocannabanoid system not because the system responds to cannabinoids and needs cannabinoids, but because it was discovered from the use of because it was discovered from the use of cannabinoids. We discovered a response in our body from the use of cannabinoid substances. And so, by default, it got named that. Now, if copaiba was used instead as extensively as cannabinoids were, it would have led to the discovery of what we now call the endocannabanoid system, and it would be called something completely different. It wouldn't be called endocannabanoid. It might be called endocopaiba or something like that, right? But what's really interesting is that the endocannabanoid system, in using an imagery, look at it as a lock, right? That requires a certain key to open. And the cannabis plant happens to be a great lock picker. It knows how to pick that lock and open that door. But what it leaves behind is an imprint. So you'll hear a lot about people talking about the CB1 and CB2 receptors. When you use cannabinoid oil or CBD oil, what it does is it has an influence on the CB1, CB2 receptors in different variations depending on potency and contamination and all of that things, but it always leaves an imprint because it picked that lock. It isn't the key. Within the cannabinoid plant, it has within the cannabis plant, it has cannabinoids, and that cannabinoid, constituent helps open the endocannabanoid system. The endocannabanoid system is called that because of the discovery of this response in your body because of the use of cannabinoids. Right? You understand that? Now, what happens when your endocannabinoid systems are out of whack? You're going to experience a high level of inflammation in your body, mostly in the digestive system, muscles, joints. There is going to be a breakdown in the cellular apoptosis measure in your body, along with other symptoms and other mechanisms that helps your DNA recognize faulty information and faulty cellular functions. And all of that is linked not just to your digestive system, but how your liver works. When there's a malfunction in your liver, your endocannabinoid system is affected. Next is your neurological function. The neurological communication in your receptors between how your body and your brain kind of evaluate and respond to pain triggers, pain stimulus. When you experience pain in your body, it's not just an experience for you. It's not just from an injury or from an inflammation. That inflammation creates a response in your body that triggers a chemical release of other components that add to the inflammation. And over time, your body is unable to recognize what is an innate response and what is an external response or a reaction. It's a difference between a reaction and a response, and that's how autoimmune conditions show up. And so if you have autoimmune issues, if you have neurological issues, if you have digestive issues, if you have liver malfunction that could be caused by drug use or prescription use, then you are going to change that balance, that symbiotic relationship that is synergistically connected from all these different body systems. And it can affect now your dopamine receptors. Those dopamine receptors help you analyze and respond or react to pain, to stress, to anxiety, to trauma, to focus, to depression, and so on and so forth, right? So what is really, really cool about Copaiba, and the reason why I looked at Copaiba as its own thing, is that Copaiba has a very cool thing about it. It's got phytocannabinoids, that's one aspect of it. But the bigger, more important thing is it has beta-carophylline, and that is BCP, not CBD, BCP. And you know what BCP is to the endocannabinoid system? It is the key. It doesn't need to pick the lock. It actually opens the door. It opens the door and doesn't leave an imprint. It doesn't leave a dirty footprint on your CB1 and CB2 receptors. Meaning, where CBD oil, if you want to make the comparison, is going to create an influence and suppress your pain or suppress your immunofunctions or suppress anxiety, depression, and what it does is it then influences your dopamine receptors, it influences your serotonin and melatonin. It has an impact on it. It leaves a dirty footprint on it. Copaiba doesn't have that kind of an effect on it. What it does is it modulates. There's a difference between suppression, there's a difference between influence, and then there's modulation. Modulation is what we want because modulation creates synergy. It creates homeostasis. So what you feel, it's not where if you're in pain, you stop feeling the pain with CBD oil. It suppresses your body's awareness and response and reaction to it, which offers relief on its own. But Copaiba modulates that. So what it does is it tells your body, hey, you have an inflammatory issue here. Don't make it worse by creating drama and freaking out. Have a response to it. Calm down. Stop sending out all your crazy SOS, triggers into your body. So I would say that CBD oil is like you having a codependent relationship and it works for you. The codependent relationship is like when you're in pain, when you have depression, when you have this, whatever you might want, it eases that. But Copaiba is not a codependent relationship. It is a symbiotic relationship. And so I think that we are doing a great disservice to comparing Copaiba oil with CBD, and I invite you to stop and not do that, because we are missing the boat on allowing ourselves to understand the human body in a way that is revolutionary, not comparative. So, like I said, I've got a lot. I've got like a whole notebook, and I've got like, I counted it the other day, I've got like 70 some recipes just using Copaiba oil for all kinds of different things, and I want to share that with you, but I can't do it right now like this because, like to show you my handwriting and stuff. So the last thing I want to say is that look at it this way. The endocannabanoid system, cannabis helped us find it, and Copaiba is going to help us modulate it, regulate it, bring it into balance. Okay, so I've got a lot of information, but I want you all to just kind of chill and enjoy your Copaiba experience. It's not going to, the wonderful thing about it is that it has that CB2 activation, and using BCP. All right, not CBD. CBD doesn't matter. It's BCP that you want. Do you want to pick a lock, or do you want to have the key? I choose to have the key. I always choose to have the key. That is why I chose Copaiba. There was one more thing I wanted to talk about, but I can't remember it. So what I want to tell you is that I am running a training this weekend. It's called Unconventional You. I was supposed to run it during convention, but I'm pushing it back to this weekend. You can find out more information on it on this page, on my Facebook page. I also posted it on Oil Maverick. It's $30 a day or $75 for 3 days. You get all the kinds of 3 days worth of training for business about understanding essential oils, and you also get a personal development, one-on-one coaching with me. So sign on. I only have a few spots. I'm not opening too many spots because, I can't give out 100 hours of my time. So sign up for it. And in the meantime, thank you so much for hearing me out. And during that training, I'm going to tell you in depth, I'm going to talk to you about the endocannabanoid system. I'm going to talk about how you can help people with PTSD, with recovery, to any kind of substance abuse, about abstinence, with those substances using Copaiba oil, among other essential oils as well. And one of the things the last thing I want to touch on is that if you want to compare, Copaiba oil with CBD oil, I want you to understand that why it's such a great disservice, right? How it responds to the CB2 receptors, cannabinoids only affect about 35%, have a 35% influence. And remember that influence always leaves a dirty footprint, all right? It's not modulating, it's creating a suppression. And that suppression always has a price tag, all right? But with BCP, through Copaiba oil, you're getting a 55% influence, and that all that influence is modulation and not suppression, all right? So that's really, really important. So what we want to focus on is BCP, not CBD, and I can show you and tell you what that's about. So I want to thank you all so very much. For those of you who haven't experienced Copaiba oil, doTERRA is offering it. It's a fraction of the price for what you would get from, buying CBD oil. And call your essential oil rep, whoever that might be, and get those oils. Get it right now, whether you have a membership or not. Buy it from them. And if you don't have an essential oil person, I'm a good one. I'm pretty good, and I would love to help you and companion you along your essential oil journey. So I want you to know that, we are living in a very exciting time of great discovery, of wonder and awe. Open your mind, shift your paradigm, and understand that this is a gift of awesome opportunity that's going to revolutionize the way we allow our bodies to modulate against some of the worst unimaginable pain, discomfort, and anxiety and trauma that many of us go through. So thank you also very much, and I hope you understand that I share this with you because I love you. And I look forward to sitting with you and sharing more of what I know. You have a great week.